Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help, and welcome back to another video today. So today I'm going to be talking about every single account that I have ever made on RuneScape from the year 2009 all the way to 2021. And when I made the list, it actually surprised me on how many different accounts I have actually made. If you guys have made multiple different accounts in your time playing RuneScape, let me know down below and so that I know I'm not the only one that has done this. But yeah, thank you guys for all the continued support as always, and I hope you guys enjoy the video today. The very first account I ever made was obviously a main account. This was back in 2009, and it was the very first account that I have ever made. I will leave a link in the description to a video where I talk about my first experiences with RuneScape if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, this was the very first account that I ever made, and it was back in 2009. Yeah, since this was my very first account, it obviously became a main. I was just doing every single skill, trying to do all the quests, a little bit of the quests anyways, and yeah, it eventually turned into a maxed main. It took me probably 4 or 5 years to max the account. First 2 years, or the first year anyways, I really didn't do anything significant on the account. I was just playing it with friends and getting to learn the ropes of the game. But yeah, it just pretty much taught me everything about the game, pre-EOC obviously, and I started right when Dungeoneering came out, and I ended playing that account right before they released Archaeology. So yeah, it was pretty long. That's probably the longest term account that I've ever played, and like I said, I did max that account, and I learned so much about the game through that way and playing a main, and you know, I built up a bank. When I did quit the game, I had about 2 billion GP, something like that. But you know, it didn't come overnight. Like for the first 3 or 4 years of the game, I had like a 5 to 10 mil bank. But you know, when you start to learn more and train like skills like Slayer, you end up making more money. But yeah, that was probably the most fun I've ever had on account besides my Ironman. And yeah, that's the one that I learned how to play the game on, learned everything, had probably the most memory with friends on that account for sure, and learned the most about RuneScape with that account. Reason for stopping the account was I just didn't like the evolution of combat and the way they were going with the game. I did, however, play evolution of combat for three or 4 years actually after it was released. I gave it a chance, more of a chance than pretty much anyone else did, and it just bad update after bad update and more double experience weekends is why I ended up burning out of that account and why I ended up stopping it. But that is probably the most most experience I've ever gained on an account. It had 1.3 billion experience, and I was gonna go for 200 mil all on that account, but I ended up stopping because I just couldn't be asked to play RuneScape 3 anymore. Coming in at the second account that I ever made was in 2010. It was going to be a 1 defense pure, and I made this with my friends actually, just because I thought, you know, I know more about the game now and I want to get into pking. This is back in 2010. I would have been like 10 years old. Yeah, so I ended up making the 1 defense pure, and pretty much I ended up just making it a skiller. I was never really into combat at all, so I don't know why I wanted to make a 1 defense pure. I just thought pking was really cool. It was a hype on YouTube at the time, and all my friends really were into it, and I heard that if you pk on a 1 defense pure, it's probably the best way to learn, and pretty much I died every single time that I did try to pk, but it ended up just being a skiller, and I only played it for a couple of months before I quit that account. Now, looking at the list now, it actually kind of surprises me that I only had 2 accounts before, or I guess pre-EOC and pre-old school really. So when old school first came out, I didn't want to spend the extra whatever $10 a month for another membership, so I ended up just logging into old school probably about 2 months after it was released. I didn't think old school would take off the way it did, so I just didn't play it when it was first released, which I really regret doing now. But yeah, I signed into my main, like the first account I was talking about, on old school, and I played it for, I'm gonna say, a week or 2 weeks. I didn't really do too much. I just did a couple quests and just was like revisiting the map, because you got to remember I started in 2009 where they already had the HD graphics, so it was pretty crazy to me just to explore the game with the 07 graphics, and this was before the Grand Exchange, before anything, and soon enough I was hooked, but I wanted to play my main still. So I ended up just making a brand new account on old school. This is pre-Ironman, pre-Grand Exchange, and I made a main account on old school. Now on this main account, I pretty much played it how I played my main account back in the day, pre-EOC. I would just not do that many quests, only the ones I really needed to do, and I became a skiller, I believe, within the first year of making that account. This is pre-Grand Exchange, by the way. I got 99 fletching and 99 cooking, and I vividly remember having to use the Zybez website to contact people in order to make deals with them, and then you met up before the Grand Exchange and, you know, you made that deal. I remember that. That was a really cool experience when we didn't have the Grand Exchange, and I think that's sort of what kind of got me into like Ironman, like the whole just not having the Grand Exchange and kind of having to like rely on, I guess, social media to figure out how you would make deals. And this made me do a lot of things myself, because for certain things, like for quest items, you'd have to pay like ridiculous prices before the Grand Exchange. For like a red dye or something like that, you'd have to pay like 10k. So I'd have to go out of my way and just make the red dye myself just to save that 10k that I didn't want to spend on something so stupid. I played that account for, I'm gonna say, over a year, and I did have a lot of fun with it, and really got me into old school RuneScape and not having the evolution of combat and just the old school RuneScape community in general. And yeah, I don't regret playing that account at all. It was a lot of fun for a while, but I just got so burnt out of playing a main again. It felt like I was doing the same thing as I was before, but with slower XP rates, and I didn't know anything about PVMing or Slayer or whatever at the time, so I ended up just not playing that account anymore. I think I just returned to playing my main as well back on like the EOC and whatever. And then they released Ironman mode. And they released Ironman mode in old school first, I believe. I'm almost 100% sure that's how it happened. And I hopped on that right away. I was like, this is amazing. I want to try it. And it was a brand new experience, obviously. And it's this account that you guys are seeing right now. This is the first Ironman account I've ever made. And I started it out as a hardcore with no intentions of keeping it a hardcore, but I didn't realize I would die at the Night Sword quest, which is kind of funny. Died to like a mugger or something like that, but I didn't really care that it wasn't a hardcore. I just wanted to play the regular Ironman anyways, and yeah, I just fell in love with the game. Every single thing changed. Every, you know, that irit seed on the ground that you would get before, or that 10 GP that you'd get from pickpocketing a guy at the start of the game, every single thing mattered now. Every drop mattered, every bone mattered, like literally everything mattered. And it felt like you were playing single player RuneScape at first. When it first came out, it just felt like you didn't even want to talk to other people. You just want to do everything yourself. And it was such a brand new experience. And this, as well as my first account, taught me the most about RuneScape, because I had to figure out so many things that I just didn't even know were in the game. Because Ironman was so new to not just me, but to like everyone. Besides for people like a friend or Bodhi who played like a solo account before, it was brand new. And just the fact that we had so many restrictions and things like that, we had to learn how to do things from scratch. You took advantage of things like questing in the kingdom to get you maple logs, and just every single thing meant so much more. Every level, every quest, every achievement diary just meant so much more. And I absolutely just fell in love with the game. It was a brand new experience, and I just loved it, and I still do to this day. So my friends, like I had talked about in the past, they play for a couple months, then they quit, then they play for a couple months, then they quit. And they've always been into making one defense peers and pking accounts. So I ended up making a one defense peer, played it for a month or two, and I kind of tried to make it really efficient. Like I trained fishing to like 90 so I could get strength without training HP, and it was pretty fun. I wanted to make it like a dark bow alt, like the 10 HP dark bow or whatever. I think I did actually do that, but then I ended up training HP and stuff like that to do quests and stuff. It was overall a lot of fun, but it was a very short-term account. I only played it for a couple of months as well. But it ended up just, you know, being a skiller, and I'm like, why am I playing a skiller again? Because, you know, like I said, my friends are on and off, and like when it was PK ready is when they quit. So yeah, I kind of just quit that account. Next account I made was a RuneScape 3 account. Again, I was looking at videos and I got back into RuneScape 3. I guess I was just not having as much fun on old school anymore. At the time, I remember I just finished the Swan Song quest. Kind of funny that I'm right here now training agility, but I finished the Song quest, or whatever the hell that quest is called, and I just fished monks for like 3 months straight. Don't know why. I finished the quest and didn't even leave the town. I just stayed here and fished monks for like 3 months straight, and I was also AFKing on my main on RS3 at the time, and this is the only time I've ever actually played 3 accounts at once, like actively all the time. I made another RS3 account. It was also at the time where I got a PC upgrade so my computer could handle like 3 accounts at the same time, and I would be playing this account, which some of you OG subscribers might remember. It was an account that I made a completionist cape from scratch. And within a year, I almost maxed that account from starting at Tutorial Island, which is really just crazy if you think about it. I mean, to be fair, I had double XP weekends, I had, I had the knowledge of the game, the way faster experience rates, I took advantage of questing, and on that account was the very first quest cape I ever had. I had a lot of fun with that account, just experiencing all the things again from an RS3 perspective. I don't think I would play RS3 now, but just back in the time when I just got the brand new PC upgrade, I liked the graphics and everything like that. And since I was AFKing like hardcore on my old school account and my RS3 main, I just had a lot of fun with it. Like, it was severe AFKing, right? So it wasn't like something where you could kind of AFK. It was severe AFKing on both the accounts. So for my main like game, I was just playing this RS3 account, and like I said, I almost got it maxed. I'm pretty sure if I logged into it now, I had like cooking left and like some of the easier skills left. I had like all the hard ones out of the way, like summoning, like Slayer I had out of the way. I'm pretty sure I had like 90 agility as well, something like that. Like, I was almost maxed that account, and I definitely, if I logged into it today, I could probably max it within a couple of months. But yeah, like I just said, like the bad updates, and I just eventually just did not want anything to do with RS3. So pretty much when I quit that account, I decided we're going to make the perfect one defense peer on old school. I've always wanted to just knock people out in the wilderness and just have an account where I could log in and PK whenever I wanted to. So I made the best one defense peer that I've ever made. And the thing is, I was done with RS3 at the time, like for good. So I swapped all the GP over, which I really regret doing now. I swapped the Santa hat over, which was, I think it was 600 mil or 500 mil, something like that at the time. And I swapped it to old school and made an account on old school and just funded this amazing peer. Santa hat is now worth like 4 bill today, so really regret doing that. Santa hat is my favorite item in the game, and I did have a real Santa hat, which I do not have anymore, which is sad, but it is what it is, right? Learning experience as always. But yeah, I swapped, like I had like 300 mil old school, and I just funded this peer. I was bursting. I was having all the best things in the game, Robin Hood hat, all the Robin boots and stuff, and the account was awesome. I did get a bunch of kills on it. I could go in the wilderness with like risking 5 mil, not even worrying, and it was just a lot of fun. Like, I would just destroy people, and it was my first time actually, being good at pking, and it was a lot of fun. I definitely wish I played it a lot more, but the account ended up getting hacked. So not only did I lose the perfect pure account, I mean, I still have the account, but all the items are gone. I lost the perfect pure account, but I also lost the Santa hat because I swapped it over. Feels bad. So from that point, I just don't want to play RS3 anymore. Don't really feel like making a pure anymore. Maybe one day in the future I will, but that is why I'm sticking to the old school Runescape Ironman account. Now, there's lots of things I want to do on old school that are difficult to do on an Ironman, or just you want an old school account where you can kind of do anything on. So I got the idea to make a Tutorial Island to Twisted Bow account, and you guys love the series, and thank you guys so much for that. I'm having a lot of fun with it and learning a lot about main accounts on old school, and it is a lot of fun. So that is the 2 accounts that I play right now, and that is the 9th account that I ever made, was the Tutorial Island to Twisted Bow account, and it's just going to be a simple main on old school. So I have the Ironman, which is getting close to max, and then I will have the Tutorial Island to Twisted Bow account. Wow, that is a lot of accounts that I've made looking back at the list now. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and yeah, let me know down in the comments below how many accounts you've made, how many you still play, and how many you regret making, really. But yeah, if I ever did make another account, it would probably be an RS3 Ironman or an old school Ultimate Ironman. Maybe, like I said, another pure or something like that in the future. But right now, I'm just loving playing a main and an Ironman. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya later.